So let's go through how this whole thing works. It's really simple, really simple. It's a risk-based approach, unlike the rest of similar regulations. Not AI systems are treated by eyreACT equally. So at the top, we see unacceptable risk, prohibited systems. These are banned outright. This includes social scoring systems, AI that manipulates vulnerable people like children, real-time biometric identification in public spaces, depends on the context. So if you're building any of these, please stop. The prohibition is already in force since February 25. The next one is high risk, and that's where most of us belong. And that's where the most of the regulatory weight is sitting. So if your AI system is operating in domains listed in Annex III, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, you will need the full compliance package. That includes risk management, technical documentation, human oversight, data governance, conformity assessments, all the works full Monty. Then a limited risk. That's where life is getting easier. You only need transparency, fulfill the transparency obligations. So if you're building, for example, a simple chatbot or generating deepfakes, which I encourage you not to, if you're using emotional recognition, you simply need to tell your users that they are interacting with AI. So light obligations, but they're still real, they exist. And finally, minimal risk, no specific obligation. That includes spam filters, AI in video games, most of the simpler consumer applications. You simply, well, the best practice is still to have some paperwork, some documentation ready, but no specific obligations apply to you. So you can rest assured, you can leave if you want. But I encourage you not to, because if you deploy something new tomorrow and this can place you easily into a higher risk category, then you'll need to start getting ready for your compliance. And we found that at eyreACT, most AI startups, they land either in high risk or limited risk. Very few are actually minimal and very few are actually prohibited. And if they are prohibited, there are ways to slightly pivot your strategy. Unless you are already in the market, then it gets things very complicated. You can pivot the strategy, you can slightly change your product direction. So there are ways to place you at least into higher risk, not prohibited. So next slide, please. Let's see what actually happens when you are in high risk category. If your AI system is touching any of these domains, so you are in. So biometrics and identity verification, critical infrastructure, energy, water, transport, digital, education, and that includes vocational training, employment and HR, and that includes recruitment, performance evaluation, task allocation, access to essential services and benefits. That includes credit scoring, insurance, big one, social services, big one. Law enforcement, out of question. Migration and border control, those are serious guys. I don't think you'll mess with them. Administration of justice and democratic processes, big one. That's what European Commission does, and that's why we work with them. So I know that now some of you are thinking, I'm building a simple B2B SaaS tool. None of this applies to me, but look carefully. If your product, for example, helps companies make hiring decisions, then you are in HR, high risk. If you're doing credit risk assessment, you are in social services, high risk. If your tool processes biometric data for identity verification, you are in biometrics. So the classification is not about what your system does or what you claim it does, but what you can do potentially. So because one of your clients can use your system for something absolutely different, and the blame will be on you. So start with Article 6 and Annex 3. This classification exercise is basically your first compliance task. Without it, you don't even know what obligations apply to you.